Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Premodern at the request of Patreon subscriber Samael, and this is Bug Control. As you know, if you have been following me or my work for any amount of time, Bug is my favorite color wedge. I was a Sultai clan ambassador, official WotC ambassador for the Sultai clan when Tarkir Dragonstorm came out. I was very excited when Samael showed me this deck. And I was even more excited when I saw that there is an Oath of Druids package in the sideboard. Bug and Oath are two things that I lean in on, that I'm known for. They're things I like to play, and I get to do both. That's awesome. The main deck is just a bunch of card draw, removal, and eventually some ways to win the game. This deck has 2 Grizzly Fates. That's a 5-mana sorcery, make 2 bears. If you have Threshold, make 4 bears instead. And then it flashes back for 7. And there's 1 Spirit Monger, one of the poster children of this era of Magic. 5-mana 6/6. Those stats were unbelievable at the time. When it deals damage to a creature, but a +1 counter on it, black regenerate, green becomes the color of your choice until end of turn, which is a thing that mattered back then. Not so much anymore, but, you know, that text is still on the card. The rest of the text is pretty cool. This is an accumulated knowledge strategy. This is a card that I love to play. Unfortunately, its time in Legacy has kind of come and passed. It did have a moment probably like 5 years ago where people were doing it. People, meaning me and Anurag. But I'm glad to get a place to play it. 4 Pernicious Deed in a deck. Hook that to my veins. 2 Gaia's Blessings to keep yourself from decking out in the late game. It's beautiful. I love this kind of deck. I love pivoting to Oath against creature decks so you can win faster. Or catch up to a Goblin Lackey, whatever it is you're trying to do with this Oath. I'm into it. Immaculate vibes, as usual, from the Premodern format. Let's go play some matches with Bug Control from Samael. I'm on the play in round 1 with a beautiful hand. I'm going to keep. I can interact on turn 1. I'll have perfect mana on turn 2. I am going to go for this Duress. Okay. We appear to be against some sort of Jeskai control deck. Miscalculation won't be online for a while. Disenchant can hit my Sabo's Web, but that's a cantrip and I don't care. I think I care most about Phyrexian Furnace here. It's Furnace or Counterspell. I do win the game with a flashback spell. All right. I'm actually going to take Phyrexian Furnace from this hand. Blooded Strand from the opponent. I'm taking 1 damage no matter what land I play here, so I'm just going to play the basic. And then I can stop taking damage next turn from my spells. Shivan Wreath. Oh, Counterspell and Miscalculation both represented here. I think I'm going to go for Sabo's Web, because I know they can kill it anyway, and I'm just trying to resolve a cantrip that I don't think they'd counter. Hitting land drops is the most important thing I can do in this matchup. And if I can ever get this Flooded Strand tapped, it won't untap. That's a joke. I don't play Rashad Port, and they would just fetch in response. Okay, this one comes in tapped, but is not affected by web. All right, I'm just going to keep dumping out here. None of these cards do anything, which is kind of a problem. But they do keep cards flowing. But that also means they're not really worth countering. It's a little risky to cast the first AK, because if they're an AK deck as well, now their first one draws 2, where my first one didn't. But I would like to get the show on the road a little bit. End step fetch. If my opponent Factor Fiction's here, I'll do it in response, and then we both get to resolve a Factor Fiction. All right, cycling Miscalc. 1 counterspell down. Okay, I'm not going to Factor Fiction in the end step straight into that counterspell. Maybe I'm supposed to play Pernicious Deed out there just to use my mana, but I don't really need my mana specifically. All right, now I have my own counterspell. My next land is a big one. I wish I knew what my opponent was doing. It might be obvious if you play a lot of Premodern, which I don't. Okay, as long as I'm hitting land drops, I'm good. I will wait forever on this shit. Hey, you've got a Factor Fiction. I could counterspell this. Alright, so I'm gonna counterspell, and then they're gonna counter back, and then I'm gonna Factor Fiction, and we're both gonna get a Factor Fiction this turn. And then I'll be tapped out for 1 round, which isn't ideal, but let's at least make something happen here. I'm interested in lands and accumulated knowledge from this pile. Let's see how they stack it. It separated the lands from the AK. That's pretty smart. If I take the 2 pile, I don't have to discard. If I take the 3, I have to discard 1, but I have these Innocent Bloods that I don't think this matchup's about. All right, I'm going to value my land drops here. And then you get to Fact or Fiction. Impulse 5 lands. 5 is a lot of lands. I'm just going to separate the card from the lands. Giving them 4 cards isn't great. But yeah, we'll see what they think about this. Wow. Generally, when playing Fact or Fiction, if they take the smaller pile, you did it right. And they just took 1 card over 4 cards. That was awesome. Well, there's the Impulse. We knew about that. If this Impulse finds Accumulated Knowledge, which is now good for 3, that could be icky. Okay, we dodged the ickiness, though I have drawn the 4th Innocent Blood. All right, Wall of Blossoms, number 3. Keep those going. And I am Threshold for this Grisly Fate. How much would it hurt me to cast Pernicious Deed? I can cast Pernicious Deed while still representing Counterspell, which I don't have anyway. Now I'm going to be hitting my land drops. I'm not worried about that. I have at least 2 turns before I have to just get a card out of my hand. Ooh, opponent missing land drops going to cleanup. This is great for me. Discarding that Disenchant we saw 100 years ago. This magic is delightful to me. I know I'm a sicko. I'm not even going to say maybe I'm sicko, but like I'm definitely a sicko for liking this, but I do. I'll be honest. Cycling Slice and Dice, sure. My Wall of Blossoms, I'll take 1. Dust Bowl. I have so many lands, I don't think I care about that. Double Fact or Fiction. I think I'm going to play this Pernicious Deed out. I probably should have picked one of these Pain lands to pay the colorless on that. I'm just investing stuff here because at some point I'm going to resolve a Fact or Fiction or an AK, and then I'll have too many cards in my hand. All right, you're Fact or Fictioning. I will do the same in response. If they have a counterspell here, I'm in some trouble. Bummer. All right, well, EOT FOFYL. That's how this works. Okay. I don't care about Swords to Plowshares. I think Counterspell and Impulse are kind of the 2 important cards here. So this one sees a lot of cards, and this one interacts with me meaningfully. I could put Plow in the 3 pile. Okay. Giving them Plow and Counterspell covers a lot of bases for a long time. All right, so they took Plow and Counterspell. I'm just going to have to be okay with that. But that gave them 3 cards now at the expense of seeing 5 cards over the course of the game. And Swords to Plowshares is not good against my deck. I have Wall of Blossoms, Grisly Fate, which if resolves will be worth 4 2/2s. That 1 Spirit Monger's kicking around somewhere, but I don't have to play that if I don't want to. I have access to green mana and those 2 Gaia's Blessings. Oh no, opponent has Gaia's Blessing as well. That targeted Fact or Fiction, Disenchant, and Counterspell. Okay. Well, surprise. Gaia's Blessing, a win con for everyone. Probably neither of us are going to deck out then. Oh well, look at that. I can do this shit too. I will shuffle in Counterspell, Fact or Fiction, and is it Duress? Do I want one of the AKs back in there? I think it's Duress. I know they have a Counterspell, but this would be an aggressive place to use it, I think. All right, well, there's Spirit Monger. I just accidentally turned on that Swords to Plowshares with my 1-of. I also turned off Threshold, but that's fine. That's easy to get back. I could literally just sack Deed for 0 at any point if I want Threshold. Opponent's discarding to clean up. Dump the Plow that we knew about. I'm hitting land drops. You're not. I am a minute behind on the clock, which I'm going to have to make up somewhere. But that might be actually the win con. Accumulated Knowledge. I'll end step that. There are 2 in my graveyard. That's actually spicy enough that it might be worth a counterspell. Okay, I'm actually going to wait. My opponent is just discarding to hand size. I'm still hitting land drops. If I start a fight, like over something like Ancestral Recall, I want to make sure I can win it or cash it out on the other side. Like if I AK, they counterspell. Fact or Fiction, they counterspell. Untap Grisly Fate, they counterspell. I haven't actually used my turn in any meaningful way. Disenchant Deed, you got me. Fine. I literally put it out because I had no use for it. Do I have a fetchable left in my deck? I think I played 2 islands and 3 swamps. I am going to fetch. All right, islands in. And yeah, I'll take a cheeky little shot here. Accumulated Knowledge. You want me to draw 3? Wow, that just happened. And it got me Duress. Land drop. See what's going on over there. Discarded 3 Swords to Plowshares. The Spirit Monger might turn the corner. They're just scoping to that? Hell yeah. Man, that was beautiful. There's probably people at home who are like, you're the biggest idiot in the world. That was the worst Magic I've ever seen. And to them, I say, fuck you, personally. I'm having a blast. Okay, this is not an Oath matchup. Ravenous Baloth could be a random 4/4 that I attack with if I want to get a little aggressive. Popping Echoes is sick if it resolves. This is Surgical Extraction, every card in your graveyard, if you haven't seen this card. Oh, wow, they don't want to play the match. They realize they are outmuscled, outmatched. Honestly, if I was in a control mirror that's going to go 20 plus turns and my opponent had duress and I didn't, I would also be afraid of this. Bug, too good. Jeskai sucks. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I'm going to keep... This hand sets up forever. If they have, like, Goblin Lackey, I could be in trouble. The Jackal Pup. All right, well, I might be in trouble. Duress. Hopefully we can strip a Burn Spell or Sulfuric Vortex from this. All right, Mog Fanatic, Grim Lavamancer. I'm taking Lightning Bolt. It's just the same thing as Incinerate, but costs 1 instead of 2. A Smother is a good draw. A Pernicious Deed is slow as hell, but, I mean, I would take it. Look at this Forest just killing my opponent here. All right, I'm just going to AK. All right, I found a Smother. That's going to help. I don't know if they're going to have Red Blast in the main, but I don't want that to happen if they do. Attacking with Lavamancer, that means the mana is going to be busy. Another Swamp. All right, I can Smother at instant speed. I don't think they're going to do anything with their Jackal Pup. And them not knowing they're going to have a second card in the graveyard could impact what they do with Grim Lavamancer. All right, I will kill the pup. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage showing. I don't have access to any green, where Grisly Fate is actually one of my best cards here. Pernicious Deed. Okay, well, there's 1 green, but I won't be using it right away. I could draw 2 with AK and try to find... What am I trying to find? Smother, Innocent Blood, or I could try to Fact or Fiction. I think I want to AK. Okay, we got rewarded for that one. Innocent Blood. Probably going to cost them a Lavamancer here. Yeah, depending on how fast they think they can fill their graveyard. Yep, Lavamancer dead. Came to the same conclusion I did. Ooh, didn't end step incinerate me. That's interesting. And now they're flooding out a little bit, which is great. Wall of Blossoms. It costs me life to play that, but it will gain me life for the rest of the game. Ugh, man, City of Brass. Tough crowd. Okay, I have a blocker now. My life total is not particularly high, especially given that they're showing 2, 5, 6 damage. I'm functionally at 5 here. And then they tap the Lavamancer. Yeah, I'm at 3 on board. Still holding on to that Incinerate. Oh, I guess I am showing Counterspell now. I wasn't last turn unless they think I main deck Hydroblast. But they're being really squirrely about this Incinerate, which I'm into. Okay, they've stopped squirreling. That's fine. Reflecting Pool can cast the spells I need to cast. Okay, so I'm at 3 on board. If I tap this City of Brass, which I have to do to cast Grisly Fate, I'm mostly dead. I'm at 2, and the next Lavamancer activation kills me. And they have Mog Fanatic that guarantees half of what they need. The alternative is try to Factor Fiction into something or try to Gaia's Blessing into something. And Gaia's Blessing can't take their graveyard away because they'll just Lavamancer in response. And then I don't get to draw a card either. Or wait, no, this targets a player and names cards. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards. Okay, so I will draw a card even if the targets in the graveyard for Gaia's Blessing go away. I'm dead to nearly everything, but if I don't put creatures on the board, I'm dead to this Jackal Pup also. All right. I accept my, wait for it, Grisly Fate. I'll keep leaving up this blue because they respected it earlier. Okay, 2/2/2s. And the Wall of Blossom's actually important here because if I had to trade with Jackalpup, I would just be dead because Mogfanatic plus Jackalpup in the graveyard is the 2 that they need to win. All right, well, so is a fetch land. GG. All right, yeah, it took me, like, I was on the draw versus a Jackalpup when I said this hand is kind of bad against creatures, and that is true. All right, Oaths come in, Chills, Blue Blasts. I can Oath into 2 creatures that are guaranteed to gain life, or I could have something like a Chroma, which has pro red, but she might show up too late to actually win a race. She doesn't have lifelink. I don't want Spiritmonger. I don't want that gumming up the works. Sabo's Web, not super interested. Pernicious Deed would have been great. Counterspell, Mana Leak. Latinum's Legacy can put an Oath target back into my deck very slowly. I don't think I want 2 Blessings. One so I can Oath forever is nice, but the second one, in case I have to target the first one, I'm less excited about. This matchup might be too fast for Accumulated Knowledge, or it might be too fast for Fact or Fiction. I still like Grisly Fate. I like the walls. Obviously, I like all the removal. I like Duress. Counterspells are good. This is a big pivot. Is this how I want to do this? This seems so messy. What if I keep my Accumulated Knowledges, cut my Fact or Fictions, and some of the deeds? Maybe I can go 1 fewer Duress. Because Duress is like an inside-out Blue Blast that doesn't kill creatures. Like, this is an upgrade, not a pivot. Accumulated Knowledge just happens earlier, and if I Oath, the AK gets to mill over. Okay, might be crazy cutting Deed versus the 1-drop creature deck, but I've got Phantom Nishoba now. Okay, I like this hand. Keep it. It does hurt me a bit. I could take 1... All right, how do I do the least damage? This Polluted Delta could get Swamp this turn, then I have to take damage for blue spells for the rest of the game, or I could take damage for this black spell now and not take damage for blue spells. I think my blue spells are more important. I'll Duress off of Underground River. Pyroblast, Pyroblast, Lightning Bolt. Sylvan Library, spooky. All right. Well, there's 2 Pyroblasts there that can both answer Chill. I think I want Sylvan Library going, actually. Keep your red spells. Bloodstained Mire. Oh, them tapping out here is great, because now I can get Chill down where they can't Pyroblast it on the stack, which means it now costs 3. Which they do have, eventually. But it's going to take some time to get there. Carplusan Forest. Lavamancer choosing to attack instead of activate. Okay, I need to take 2 damage this turn to do all the spells I want to do. Mana in this format is so satisfying in just the worst way. Okay, I'm at 16. Grisly Fate. Oh, am I supposed to cut Wall of Blossoms when I bring in Oath? Maybe. But also, it's really good at making them flood the board with creatures. Okay, Pyroblast has removed Chill. That bought me some time to operate. Can I cash it in? Accumulated Knowledge. Finds Wall of Blossoms, which I tapped my green source to play, because why wouldn't I? Treetop Village. I have that under control. Lots of 0/4s. Accumulated Knowledge. They can Pyroblast that, would they? Maybe. Alright, I'll just keep killing myself, casting green cards that make Oath worse. Alright, well, Grisly Fate is online now. I have the mana to cast it, though, again, it would hurt. I'm going to AK in the end step. I think I would like to occasionally cast a black spell without taking damage, but again, blue is just more important. Alright, I'm not going to take damage, but I will commit to taking damage for black spells in the future. Draw 2's got to be worth a random Pyroblast. There you go. Okay. I do not have Threshold. I can't get Threshold. I would go to 12 to cast Grisly Fate. Oh, I can get Threshold with an Innocent Blood on my own creature. I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm just going to pass, which stresses me out a little bit. But Treetop Village just controls 2/2/2s. Oh, no, it doesn't, because I have Smother. Alright, I missed a turn of development there. That was messy. Alright, these fates are so grisly. Alright, I'm at freaking 12. Although it is roasting me, I do genuinely enjoy that you have to make hard decisions and do difficult things to make your your deck good in this format. All right, I think we are due for a duress. Opponent's got a lot of cards over there. I'll take the lightning bolt. So their hand is just Pyroblast. That's good for me. Attack. I'm going to smother the Treetop Village once it activates. I could also use Innocent Blood this turn and save Smother for another time. What does that do? That kills my Wall of Blossoms, but leaves me with an instant speed interaction. I think that's actually fine. It cost me a bear, but I think it's okay. All right, I'm at 10. Sack Wall of Blossoms. Pass the turn. The next Grisly Fate makes 4 bears. Call of the Herd. All right, well, I guess I'm glad I have Smother. And we're seeing why they're a green deck. Makes sense. Ooh, ooh. Can I be cheeky about this somehow? Is this like a attack with my bear, smother my own Wall of Blossoms kind of thing? I'm gonna have to attack first, then play out the Oath. Okay, this game just became weird, but I think it's for the best. Oath of Druids is in play now, which means they have to think really hard about flashing back that Call of the Herd or doing anything that affects my Wall of Blossoms. Instead of Smother Wall, the long con of playing that Innocent Blood 2 turns ago, finally paying off. Oath, trigger. I have 2 hits in my deck. They both gain life. Ravenous Baloth, delivered. As long as I don't draw the Gaia's Blessing, I can just go nuts here. Pernicious Deed. I don't think I'm casting that, just because it cost me 2 life to do it. Okay, pass the turn. And the loop here is I can sacrifice Ravenous Baloth every turn to gain 4 life, and then that keeps me in the Oath. And with Gaia's Blessing, it'll put the Baloth back in every turn. Okay, they've decided they can't go under the Oath, so they're just pushing through it. Which means I don't even have to sack my Baloth here. All right, please mill the Gaia's Blessing this time around. Oh shit, there's Wall of Blossoms. I'm so stupid. I completely forgot that that's... Remember like 3 turns ago and I was like, should I have boarded out Wall of Blossoms? Everyone screaming at the monitor was right. Okay. Well, that's embarrassing, but we play on. Black, green, colorless. I think now that only costs me 1 life, I'll play Pernicious Deed out. And I'll pass. That sucks. It's my own stupid ass fault. I looked at those accumulated knowledges and factor fictions for so long and was like, how does this work? Yeah, I bored out the irrelevant creatures. You jag off. All right, I'm going to keep oathing and keep hoping that I hit the Gaia's Blessing. All right, Nishoba's here. I did not draw Blessing for turn, which means I am guaranteed to hit it next turn. There is 1 in the deck. It's not been exiled or anything. Okay, so next turn I sack Baloth in my upkeep. All right, we got this. It's fine. Figured it out. If I attack with Baloth and they double block with Jackal Pup and Elephant, I can just put all the damage on Jackal Pup, or I could just sack it. All right, I'm going to pass. I don't think my opponent has any creatures I'm worried about them oathing into. Like, if I get to the dominant board position that I'm looking for, it's going to be okay. Oh, right, there's 1 more Wall of Blossoms in my deck. That could be awkward. If I hit it in the wrong order, it's actually terrible. All right, I'm going to sacrifice Ravenous Baloth to gain 4 life. Phantom Nishoba is also a beast, by the way. I've made a mess of this game, but hopefully I don't get punished too hard. Oh no, I hit Wall of Blossoms. This is 2 draws that might be Gaia's Blessing. For fuck's sake, deck, don't do it. Don't do it. Have we really managed to play this game to the spot where it's one of the last 2 cards in my deck? Okay. Again, completely my fault, but we play on. Can I even guarantee that I get to Oath again? I don't think that I can. Can I win? Can I just do damage and my opponent loses? Maybe. Okay, I have to now suddenly figure out how to attack. All right, this tramples. I could just Pernicious Deed and clear all these blockers. Okay, I'm going to Deed for 1. I'm going to tap better to do it, though. If they're going to be oathing anyway, let me just do as much damage as I can possibly do this turn. And then I'll play Grisly Fate and kill them next turn. I have to decide right now if they're going to do anything about Phantom Nishoba. Incinerate. All right, that makes it a 6/6. I gain 6 life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I have a fetchable left in my deck. I'm not going to bother to find out. Green, green, 1, 2, 3. I'm tapped out at 17 life. There's 44 cards in my graveyard. Is that enough? Opponent gets to oath here. These fucking Wall of Blossoms. I'm such a moron. That's all right. They hit cards. They hit thrilling cards like Mog Fanatic. Call of the Herd. You've got it. And one of the cards in my deck is still Gaia's Blessing. I'm just going to have to use it the fair and square way and just make sure I don't deck while these bears kill my opponent. Call the Herd from the graveyard. The Herd has been called. There's no oath trigger. Draw for turn. The third counterspell. Last card in the deck, huh? That's cool. That's fun. Everybody who knows how to attack, get in there. They get to eat some bears for free. They can block a bear with Fanatic and shrink Nishoba, but they still take more than that this turn. Okay, they've decided to keep an elephant to take more damage. They take 5, 6, 7 this turn, go to 2. Okay, I'm at 21. And flashback Grizzly Fate. 4 more bears. The 44 cards in my graveyard can do it. If they can make me draw a card somehow, they can win. But I don't think that red-green does that. Hit another Mog Fanatic off of that. They look pretty dead to me. Draw that cheeky little Gaia's Blessing. And attack with everything. Okay, I'm going to go to my sideboard and board out the Wall of Blossoms and bring in a bunch of the spells that should have been in the whole time. That was awesome. All right. This is why we play decks more than once before we register them in tournaments. And by we, I mean you at home should be doing that, not me here. I go in rough and ready. Maybe I'm just being a baby, but that Gaia's Blessing being the bottom part of my deck, and there being multiple spots that game where I could have just hit it off of a Wall of Blossoms was really bad. Do I want this in? The Fates, the Balos, the Nishoba. I can't give my opponent creatures, but can they win without creatures? The old-fashioned way. Like, now that they know about the Oath plan. But Phantom Nishoba, Ravenous Baloth are so good. Baloth you could just bring in as a card. Nishoba, I mean, I'm a City of Brass deck. I guess I can just cast this if my opponent's not letting me set up Oath. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Maybe a counterspell can come out for a Blessing. I did end that game with 3 counterspells in my hand, and my opponent had Pyroblast to answer them. Maybe Factor Fiction can relax. I did board them all out last time, so like you don't need to have as many cards of a card as you have access to. Okay, so I'm thinking about these two. Do I want my other Duress back in? Just knowing what they're working with, especially if they're on this Call of the Herd, like Spell Pivot, is pretty interesting. Okay. I am doing this, just double checking there's no other creatures in my deck. Oh, I started with 61. I get to keep one of these. I forgot about that. Just good deck building. Do I want the Acroma in? Do I think that's better than Factor Fiction? Knowing for sure that Oath will hit a beast that gains life is pretty exciting. But also just ramming an untouchable monster down their throat is exciting. I think I'd rather know that I'm gaining life. Here's my deck. Let's go. Oh, this hand feels really slow and bad. I can't even duress my opponent. The only way this hand would be any good is if they're so scared of Oath that they just don't play a creature. I'll play to that possibility. This is where they just Jackal-Putt me. All right, cool. Island pass. All right, they are not afraid of Oath. Draw Oath. Counterspell. I'll pass the turn. I guess I'm supposed to play Reflecting Pool there. That saves me a damage if I have to counter a spell right now. If I play Accumulated Knowledge, it's the same thing. All right, Lavamancer resolves. I'm going to AK this turn. Just churning for Oath. Another Reflecting Pool. Innocent Blood. Just checking. Can I cast that? All right, I'm going to try to AK into a Black Source right now. Yep, that's a good Pyroblast. Okay. The mana base hurt me a lot in the first 2 games, and now I literally can't cast any spells in this game. Call of the Herd. Pernicious Deed would be a good draw. Oh my god. Or just more black cards. That's cool. That's cool deck. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm pretty much dead. I guess I should try to resolve this Factor Fiction. No, I shouldn't. I know they have Pyroblast, but if I tap out and let them just tee off on treetop villages and everything, it's not great. Fnatic, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically dead here. And they are not afraid. 3, 7. That does tap them out of Lavamancer, so that's one less. 3, 6, 10, 11. Alright, I go to 3, which is functionally 2, because there's a Mog Fnatic, which is functionally dead because there are treetop villages. Alright, I need to factor Fiction into a pain-free black source. So I only have swamps that meet that criteria. There's the Oath. Oh wait, I have 2 Reflecting Pools in play. Pernicious Deed would be a good card to find. They don't want me duressing them, that's interesting. But I have duress anyway, so I'll take the pile of 3, which turns on my mana. But I'm dead to the board. I have to draw Pernicious Deed. Even that's probably not good enough. Okay, wastes. And there's not enough removal here to get it done. I'm going to duress them though, see what they were hiding from me. Tranquil Domain, destroy all enchantments. Okay, yeah, it was covered no matter what. Alright, GG, I can't get out of this. Yeah, that was cool. It was just like, I kept a hand hoping that my opponent would respect the card Oath of Druids, but they had a disenchant in their hand, which means they didn't have to respect Oath, which means they just dumped out their hand and killed my shit. But also, you know, I drew a bunch of cards, didn't come on black. Like, if I Innocent Blood, the Quirion, Dryad, Smother, the Elephant, this game is... I have all the time in the world to figure it out, but obviously, cost of doing business in these lower power formats, which, although it killed me this match, is actually good for Magic in some ways. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep. My hand has ways to interact and mana. And my Colosseum's in. A mountain. Is it redemption time? All right, I'm going to put a wall in front of this pup. Found a land drop. That's good. I can duress my opponent and AK next turn, or I could duress and hold up counterspell. Whatever I need to do. Mog Fnatic. Okay. If they use like Lightning Bolt plus Mog Fnatic to clear a Wall of Blossoms, I have to just be thrilled with that. Goblin Patrol. Heck yeah. That's going to tie up some of their mana next turn. I'll get a Swamp. Duress you, see what's cooking over there. It's possible this could miss, but these decks are pretty in the middle, lands and spells. Fire Blast, Lightning Bolt. Knowing that Fire Blast is in their hand isn't super comfortable, but Lightning Bolt cleans the Mog Fnatic, or Mog Fnatic plus Wall of Blossoms. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bolt. At some point, that will be important. That Wall of Blossoms is still in play, and I think that point is every turn of the game. I'll block Goblin Patrol because I'd rather take damage from Jackal Pup. It doesn't matter in game, but in my mind, in my heart, that's a big difference. Taking actual damage from a Goblin Patrol, no thank you. Another pup. I could counter that. I probably should. I don't have a better plan right now to make this game last longer. And if they Fire Blast Wall of Blossoms right now, this Ball Lightning's never happening. Ooh. I wake up in the morning. We don't call this PDD anymore. That's problematic. Probably always was. Okay, so this Ball Lightning's a problem. I could spend this turn taking 3 damage and then double AK, refill my hand, deal with Deed, have a plan for Ball Lightning. I think that's what I gotta do. Okay, I'll block Goblin Patrol. And should I cast one of my knowledges now? I think so. I still have Counterspell up, and if I hit Smother, that actually saves damage. Okay. Didn't get paid for that, but I think it was a solid decision. Grim Lavamancer, just putting more things into the Pernicious Deed. Alright, I gotta take damage on this one. AK for 2. Oh no. when all you want is lands, but you draw shitty cards instead. Okay, how much damage am I taking? I have to take 2. I go to 8 to oh no, I can activate it. Okay, I have to take 1 to play and activate Pernicious Deed. I'm at 9. Mog Fanatic puts me to 8. Fire Blast puts me to 4. Ball Lightning tramples over for 2. But if this Grim Lavamancer gets active, it's so much worse. Alright. We know their whole hand, though. Fire Blast, Ball Lightning is 2, 6, 7. Okay. Kill your whole board. I am sitting at 2 life here. But if they don't Fire Blast, then I can untap into the counterspell. Like, they do have to kind of go all in here to put me to 2, and then counterspells up after that. And blasting the Wall of Blossoms to get through with Ball Lightning is the same as blasting my face. I was just in my head workshopping, like, can we get a basic forest in here? And then I remembered that Verdant Catacombs and Misty Rainforest aren't in the format. You only get the ally fetches. Fun. Only ally color fetches and no dual lands to get with them. Opponent is either deep in the tank about their sequencing, or disconnected, or double queuing. This Pernicious Deed happened many minutes ago in real life. You're welcome for the slick editing the BoshNRoll channel provides. It seems they did lose connection for a minute, but they're back. Which makes more sense, because there's not actually a sequencing decision to be made there. Oh, good. I just said I would be in it at 2 at the end of this turn, right? Well, that deals 2. I guess the question is, if they commit to the Fire Blast immediately. Alright, they took out the Wall of Blossoms, which is the same as going for me. Okay, well, Barbarian Ring was the perfect rip. I don't think I can gain 1 life. I don't play Wasteland. It's immune to Counterspell. I don't have Graveyard Hate. Oh, wait. I do, but they have 11 cards in their graveyard. Alright, well, that just beat everything I was going to do. Alright, got me. I'm going to do the Oath Pivot, but I'm going to remember that my deck has Wall of Blossoms in it this time. Pernicious Deed is pretty important when they have 4 1-drops, but I don't want to spend 4 mana to kill a Jackal Pup either after it's done 6 damage to me. I've seen Sulfuric Vortex in these decks, like Naturalize could help deal with that, but I have the Blue Blasts and the Chills and Counterspells. And I guess in an emergency Pernicious Deed, like Naturalize and Annul are not without text in this matchup, but they're also not thrilling. Alright, here I go. I'm looking for black mana and Oath of Druids. The 2 things I need to win a matchup like this. And they do seem to be mono red if they're supporting Fire Blast and Barbarian Ring, unlike the last opponent who could support Disenchants. Oh no. This is the Dirtle hand that killed me last round. I think I am going to take a Disciplined Mulligan here. Alright. Rewarded with everything I was looking for. I don't have green mana yet. I think I'm going to bottom Underground River, because that deals 1 damage to me every time I tap it, versus Delta dealing 1 damage to me once, though River does turn on Counterspell. Alright, I am getting rid of the River. Polluted Delta, pass. And I'm not going to crack Polluted Delta, because I kind of do want to draw lands, and I know that there's a non-green land on the bottom of my deck right now. Wooded Foothills gets Basic Mountain. Plays Curse Scroll. Curse Scroll could settle into a grind versus an Oath strategy. Speaking of Oath, there's another one. I could smother a creature this turn, but I'm more likely just going to AK and try to find green. Okay, they're just fetching. Probably holding up Incinerate or whatever. AK. Oh my god. This is insulting. This is dangerous and insulting. I can kill a Ball Lightning if they shove one of those into play. Okay, Fetch Pass is what they have. Another Swamp. That was one of the lands in the deck that is the least helpful to me. I don't have Counterspell up. It doesn't cast Oath. Opponent has fetched every turn of the game. Sulfuric Vortex, yeah, would be great to counterspell that. Thanks, deck. I think I've lost already. Reflecting Pool, alright, well, now I have Counterspell up, though I am already dying. And the way that they played that on turn 4 with a red up, and that they haven't actually done anything this game, makes me believe that they must have Pyroblast. Okay, the Reflecting Pool turns on my lands in a way that's relatively pain-free. If I can find one. Ravenous Bee, okay. Doesn't gain life. is still a 4/4, is uncastable. Lightning Bolt. I think I'm just going to counterspell like anything they give to me to counterspell. Because if they're trying to flush out counterspell for Ball Lightning, I have Smother for that one. Lava Dart, okay. They might just be trying to get their hand empty for Curse Scroll as well. Oh no. The 3-card Curse Scroll. Do they have 3 of the same card? Or is this just... Well, they said Mountain and revealed Red Blast. So I was right that they have a Red Blast. There's the Mountain. Please try to send a Ball Lightning down my throat. Oh god, what is this? What even costs 6 mana in this deck? Oh, Hardcast Fire Blast? Incredible. Nice. I'm actually a big fan of that. Yeah, I'm at 8. Green Source could at least get a 4/4 into play. Oh my god. Alright, well. It is possible that they die to their own Vortex if I can hit them for 4 twice, and like they're on a 2-turn clock thanks to their Vortex. It's just, can they deal enough damage to me that I die first? I can clear blockers. This is not blue. You're saying there's a chance. I'm at 6. Red Blast is the one that you can't play if the condition isn't true. Like if this was Pyroblast, I would actually lose to Curse Scroll right now, but it's not. They have to actually take the 50-50 on it. Oh, well. All right, I guess I lose. Yep, I'm going to lose exactly by 1 turn. I'll be honest, it's becoming a little less fun that the mana is so bad in this format, but also, you know, it does make for better games. Or it makes for games that are in some way more satisfying. All right, I go to 2. And I die in my next upkeep because I can't gain life here. You're at 4. What a battle we've had. But what I guess like the point I'm trying to make is not that, you know, games where your mana kills you are fun, but it's fun at the format level, at the Magic the Gathering design level, that a deck like Burn that just gets to play perfect mana and it's hyperlinear versus this deck that gets to do whatever it is we're doing here, but it's at serious cost of maybe sometimes you don't cast your spells. It scratches a primordial itch that I think the game is right to have moved away from. And there's a reason that some people don't enjoy the play patterns of Premodern, and I don't blame them for that. But getting the tension of just like, if this Ravenous Baloth is in play 1 turn earlier, I win this game, versus, you know, ripping the forest that turns it on. Oh, kind of cool. Also, I don't know what's going on with this Goblin Patrol. Like for a while, I thought maybe my opponent knew I would pivot to Oath and boarded out all their creatures and they're just a burn deck with only spells. But then they played this random Goblin Patrol on like turn 8 and they just happened to draw the mono spells hand that happened to be perfect versus my Innocent Blood Oath open. I don't know. Either way, on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. I like my hand. It will cast the spells that are in it. An island. Also an island. Underground River. Are we in the full mirror match? That would be so fun. I'm going to go for a Wall of Blossoms here. I don't expect my blue-black opponent to be super worried about this, but I would like to cycle it off while I can. Psychotog, that's what we're doing. Sweet. Okay, well, I'm going to smother this while I have a chance for that to resolve, though if they foil me, that's not great either. All right, got through that one. Running it out that aggressively makes me feel like they have 2, though. Yep. That's how that works. Ooh, Duress. That card is good. In control mirrors. A smother circular logic counterspell AK. I have to take the smother here, or else I just lose. Okay, passing the turn. I'm not tapping out of my counterspell. Underground River drawn for turn. All right, no attack. Yeah, they're not ready to discard cards. At some point, Psychotog just gets bullshit big, but it's not bullshit big yet. I don't like missing this land drop. I could go for a web here to try to hit a land drop. I think I'm going to do that. I was probably supposed to tap Yavimaya Coast and not Grand Coliseum because now I don't have my smother up. All right, but they got to cast the first AK. That's good for me. But they could grow Psychotog in response and then mine doesn't count. Polluted Delta. Still not interested in attacking. Are you interested in countering an accumulated knowledge for 2 cards? This is actually a decision. Okay, we got away with it. Underground River versus City of Brass. I don't think I'm playing a green card this turn. I'll play the river. We're just playing Mega Chicken against the Psycho-Frog. Psychotog? My brain is completely broken from Psychic Frog's existence. Okay, I can smother Tog and counter 2 fights over it. What I'd really like is an AK or a Fact or Fiction to start a fight at a time they don't really want to have a fight. Island, 1, 2, 3. I could play Pernicious Deed. I think that's a card they have to interact with, because obviously if I'm just sitting there with 3 mana, the Tog's not getting through. But I don't want to tap out into a situation where that's going to happen right now. Like if I get enough lands, I could play Deed, they have to counter it, then I still have Smother counter up. They targeted themselves with Portent and did not shuffle. Do I want to Smother now? I think so. This is before they get to draw for Portent. They have 4 cards in hand. I know 2 of them are counterspells. And if I can flush out enough of them to resolve Deed, that works for me. And if they have to crack Polluted Delta to continue the counter war, that gets rid of the card they want for Portent. Okay, they just let me smother them. All right. I would have thought that's more important, being 2 Togs down, but I guess maybe they identified that I probably have more to do come my turn, and that this game is not going to be quick. All right, I think it's time to cast a Gaia's Blessing. I'm going to target Smother, Duress, Smother. I drew a Swamp after all that, and I'll pass. Opt. Kept it on top, and then fetched. So Portent saw 2 cards that they wanted. Gush. Is this the place I want to put a counterspell? I don't think so. Bury me. Bury me in cards. All right. I will try to counter Tog on the way back down, because Circular Logic has to be hardcast at this point. All right, you had another counterspell. I accept. Tog resolves. Circular Logic costs 1 for each card in your graveyard. Okay, Pernicious Deed. I'll put that on the stack. I expect it to get countered. Circular Logic happens. I know 1 of the 3 cards in their hand is an island. I cannot pay 10. I don't have it. Okay, I'll go for Grisly Fate. Or if they have Wonder, that's not great. But if they fight over it, I have 5 cards in my graveyard. If Innocent Blood resolves, it's more than that. It's 7. All right, I'll go for the Blood. Another one of these. Tough crowd. But I don't have 11. I could put 2 bears in front of this Psychotog. Or I could Latnom's Legacy and try to find useful cards. I think I'm going to do that. Shuffle a card from your hand into your library. If you do, draw 2 cards on the next turn. Okay, they have Island and 2 Unknowns in hand. The graveyard is worth 6 damage. The hand is worth 4, which is more than that because the cards go to the graveyard. Opt. Every card in their hand is worth 1.5 damage. Every card in the graveyard is worth half a damage. And they have to get through the wall first. Accumulated knowledge for 3. Beautiful. I love AK mirrors. Okay, it seems they are ready to commit some cards to get through the Wall of Blossoms. Graveyard is thick. Used 2 Circular Logics already. Could eat their own AKs, so I can't top deck a good one. +1, +1, +1. Okay, that's 6 cards out of the graveyard for future counting. There's the island we knew about. Polluted Delta. Do I want to just Fact or Fiction? Just rip it off? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I have exactly enough to Fact or Fiction and then Deed for 3. All right, Fact or Fiction right now. Gushing in response. Impulse in response. There's actually only one fetchable left with Polluted Delta. I play 3 islands, 3 swamps. So if this Fact or Fiction resolves and the island is among the cards, then my trick won't work. It's a pretty good Fact or Fiction, I think. Okay, separating the duresses from the blocker makes sense. I think I want the blocker. How much damage does my opponent have? It's 8, which is actually 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, 16, 17. Yeah, they're lethal. So giving me the blocker indicates to me that there's probably a removal spell. But Deed is not going to get it done on its own here because I need the mana to duress them. Yeah, I'm 1 short of duress first. All right, I will take the pile with the forest and the blossoms in it. But I will commit the Deed first because they have to counter it. Ooh, impulse and response. So they're looking for, it has to be foil. In days would be enough to deny the mana I need to do this, but it would be in play. Right, foil it is. That at least costs 3 damage. Wall of Blossoms, please draw Innocent Blood. Okay, we're in trouble. Opponent is showing 16 damage, which is my life total, but if the card in their hand is a removal spell, then they only have 15 damage. Okay, this adds... If they just get 3 smothers here, then I think that does exactly enough damage because it puts 3 cards into the graveyard plus replaces itself in hand. Smother, Deep Analysis, Wonder. Oh, well, I lose no matter what. You can have Wonder in your hand, I guess. This was sweet. The triple Tog, fending off the first 2. I had the second AK, but they had the third. Okay, Tog flies. Can't block. Growing it with graveyard cards. The graveyard is currently 2 AKs, Deep Analysis, Wonder. These are all the cards that have text in the graveyard. And my opponent has to decide right now if they are playing for a longer game or trying to do as much damage as they can right now. They should just kill me. I don't know what's being thought about. You've committed this far. Just finish it off. Though I'd love to get another turn if you'll allow it. Okay, they're clearly winning. You got it. I'm not gonna make you think about it anymore. Okay, the Psychotog deck. My sideboard doesn't really appear to be for that. Seems like actual nothing. I guess Haunting Echoes, if I snag them with that in the mid-game, could be pretty devastating. I could bring in Ravenous Baloth just as a body that does anything. I think that Sabo's Web did not appear to impact anybody that game. And Tog is a deck that has to play a creature, then pass the turn once, but Tog is probably better than Phantom Nishoba and Ravenous Baloth. It's probably not better than a Chroma. But in order for that to make sense as a plan, I would have to board out all my walls and my Spirit Monger, and I couldn't have any other creature. Oath has to hit a Chroma. That doesn't sound good. Duress is great. Innocent Blood's great. Platinum's Legacy. It seems like it's in the deck mostly to protect your Oath targets, and I'm not Oathing, so I'm not going to do that. And maybe I just bring in the 2 Haunting Echoes over these 2 Fringe cards, and we do that. I'm missing black mana, but I am going to keep. You don't have to target any cards with Gaia's Blessing. I can just cycle that off if I need to. River, Duress. All right, what do you want? It's all spells. Took the Blessing. Interesting. Trying to screw me. It might work. All right, Moment of Truth. Can I advance my game? No. There are 25 lands in the deck. And this game isn't going to go fast, though every land drop I miss is really bad. Pluto Delta, great. We're getting there. I'm not going to crack that because I want lands in my deck. Easy money. Right back in there. And now my opponent knows I can Innocent Blood them. I don't think they know about the second one. Oh, they do now. I guess I should try to fire Fact or Fiction in response to this. And I do want a Swamp. This is certainly going to get countered, but it is also the most duressable card in my hand. All right, go nuts. I've got 3 answers for Togs, and then the Haunting Echoes looming. I don't know if my opponent even actually cares about that card, but I would be excited to cast it if I got the chance. Took the deed. Yeah, I was going to invest that this turn. Good catch. All right, I'm just slamming Grisly Fate. Worst thing that can happen is they counter it, and then it's my graveyard for later. Best thing that can happen is I'm clocking them and have 2 blockers for Tog. Accumulated Knowledge, you got it. Yeah, they're just passing with a land drop. This is why I wanted some bears in play. Unlike last game, where the only thing I did was play Wall of Blossoms and then react to them, now they have to react to me. Impulse. And a counterspell is a nice thing to have. Like, they don't know about one card in my hand. All right, I'm going to leak this. Should not have tapped out of my other blue. They know my hand, it doesn't matter. Yeah, leaking a draw too, pretty nice when they have 6 mana. Leaking anything is pretty nice. Oh, yeah. Accumulated Knowledge, baby. I have 4 of those in my deck, though, and they've invested the first 3. Zombie Infestation. All right, well, that's a good way to beat what I'm doing. A smart pivot, but I still have a deck full of Pernicious Deeds. Hey, I'm going to attack with my bears. My opponent can make 2 zombies, and they can match my 2 bears, and then they're hellbent and not doing anything. I have to be okay with that world. If I echoes them, their last AK, their impulse, their counterspells, and their dresses are gone. Sure. And if they just counter this, that's a card they don't have to discard for Zombie Infestation. And it's a counterspell they don't have for whatever happens next. Gushing in response. Now Gush is in the pool of cards I can take. Another Gush. Hell yeah. Well, they can suddenly make 5 zombies. All right, and they found a circular logic that turned on by the Zombie Infestation. Okay. I can't pay 10. I simply cannot. Intuition. Gross. And Innocent Blood doesn't do anything to stop Psychotog now that they have Zombie Infestation going. Deep Analysis, 2 lands. Well, you already have like 18 islands in your hand. I'll give you another one. Okay, passing the turn. How many zombos are we making in the end step? At least 3. They have flying. 4. Just going to put me on a 2-turn clock and bet. All right, kept 2 cards back. I guess it's still a 2-turn clock, isn't it? Because they can do this anytime. Deep Analysis from the graveyard puts you to 6. I take 8 because of flying. Portent. Portent targeting me. This is tricky because fetching changes the clock. Like, it's actually 1 less zombie, but also they just messed up the top of my deck. So I would draw a bad card for sure. Pernicious Deed. Oh my god. Okay, attack with my bears. Opponent's at 2. Do I want to goof around with Innocent Blood? I don't think I do. I'm just going to hope they don't have foil. I hate Magic the Gathering. So, I am having fun, and I love this format, that it exists and everyone's having a good time with it. But I will say, after these couple weeks of grinding this on Magic Online while we have access to it, the Gush foil interaction is outrageous. I haven't played enough games of the format to have strong opinions about like whether that should be banned or whatever. Like I'm not going to have that conversation, but Gush foil is fucked up. And if I were playing Premodern in a real tournament, you better believe both of those cards would be 4-ofs in my deck. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. I'm going to mulligan this 1-lander that only has Swamp. Come on now. I'm going to go to 5. Okay, I'll keep here, get rid of Grisly Fate, and Pernicious Deed is good in some matchups and not that good in others. I think I'd rather just have lands to play my cards with. Coastal Tower is probably a good sign. Blue to Delta, pass. If I can get another grindy control mirror, I'm pretty hyped about that. All right, I'm not holding up Counterspell. I'm just going to AK without hurting myself. Impulse. I'm going to AK, get this show on the road. I guess it's possible this gets stifled, but I hope it doesn't. Okay, accumulate some knowledge. Hitting a land drop is good. More knowledge. I love knowledge. Opponent's doing something in the end step. Just fetching. Okay, that's fine. Phyrexian Furnace. Oh no. I probably should have countered that. I was busy staring into space. All right, well, I will try to accumulate knowledge while I still have additional knowledge to accumulate. And my opponent can decide if they want to tap out for counterspell here. They do not. Okay. None of these cards look very good for the matchup we're playing. I think I'm going to try to cantrip with Sabo's Web and then figure out what's next, rather than try to get Fact or Fiction into all this open mana. I'm actually really worried about that Phyrexian Furnace. Accumulated knowledge is gone. Another Fact or Fiction. My next land can protect Fact or Fiction with Counterspell. And my AKs are gone. Mishra's Factory's involved in the game now. Ooh, is this Standstill? Could be. Pernicious Deed. That's probably worth countering for them. I'll play it out, and I can Counterspell to protect it. This taps me out. They might get off a Fact or Fiction here, or my Deed can resolve. I like that. The Sabo's Web finally doing anything in this league. I think there was a Dust Bowl in like round 1 that never got tapped that Sabo's Web would have locked down. But I have to be careful that my Deed doesn't cook my web if this is land still. Impulse. They're passing the turn. All right, I don't like Fact or Fictioning into all this open mana. If I start missing land drops, I guess I would just discard Innocent Bloods. All right, yeah, I'll discard Innocent Blood to hand size, which is fun in the rules because they don't even have a window to exile it with Furnace. And I'm basically guaranteed a second turn of having AK in my graveyard. All right, I'm going to counterspell this. All right, cool. I got away with that one. And I'm going to mana leak this. That worked out pretty well. Mana leaking literally anything this late in the game feels good. And the one of mana leak is so cheeky in the list because you get the... I didn't have double blue up and I just cast Counterspell. They probably thought that was pretty safe. And the Miser leak. And now I've shown them one. They have to think about it for the rest of the match. Dismantling Blow. Oh, this is going to draw 2 cards as well. The fully kicked Dismantling Blow. That's nice. I haven't seen one of those in a very long time. But that's the joy of this format. Pernicious Deed still messes with the creature lands, though. I'm not too hard up here. And I've got myself a tasty little Fact or Fiction that's going to resolve. I'm just going to take lands here. Wherever pile the lands go, that's what I'm taking. Choose pile 2. Easy. And the order actually does matter. I'll put the accumulated knowledge farther up. And then Reflecting Pool, obviously. Okay. Pass the turn. They could pop their Furnace targeting AK to get it gone sooner. Sabo's Web is gone. I can't filter that back in with Gaia's Blessing anymore. Standstill probably just has to be fine. I can blow that up with Deed. I'll just hit some land drops and eventually Deed that away. Duress, cool. That will matter at some point. They just furnace me and passed the turn. Gaia's Blessing is here. This might be a good turn to have a battle. Dust Bowl. Yeah, they did hit a land drop. I don't like that. If I just accumulate knowledge into the Standstill, they draw 3 in their end step where that's not the most useful. But I have the Deed, but the Deed can get the factory at some point. I think I'm just going to end step Deed for 2. I have Smother. I like the Duress. Fact or Fiction plus AK, but the AK is only going to be for 1 because my opponent's going to sack Furnace in response to bonk this one. Yep. Not fighting over that. Well, I can't because Standstill is there. All right, the final accumulated knowledge that my opponent should not be worried about at all. Grisly Fate. They have to clean up a Swords to Plowshares. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. 4 cards in my graveyard. It'll be 5, 6 if I Duress then fetch. Well, I'm going to Duress. That one's on the house. I got to know what's going on over there. Counterspell. I'm going to fetch a blue and counter back. Counterspell. Now I will have Threshold. Absorb the Counterspell. Do I want to make 4 bears this turn or try to Fact or Fiction over top of all this? If they have Mana Leak, they got me. Okay, I think I'm going to try to make bears. Okay, Mana Leak's annoying here. Counterspell's off. 4 bears don't even actually kill through this Mishra's Factory, but they are a start. All right, Wrath of God. That's fine. Stand still. I think I'm just going to have to smash through that. And Duress is a good way to do it. All right, Duress you into your standstill. You draw 3, then I take the best one. Counterspell 2 plows and Decree. I think I want the Decree, and then I'll flash back Grizzly Fate. All right, Grizzly Fate. Their hand is 2 plows, a counterspell, and another factory. I'm at 12 life. There's the other factory, which means they can have 1 4/4. Okay, winning this counter war is going to be big. I attack with my bears. One of the factories can't pump itself. Like, one of them's a 2/2, one of them could be a 4/4. Plow's fine. All right, they just want to take damage. I can play that game. Gaia's Blessing. Target me. And I would like Factor Fiction, Counterspell, and Pernicious Deed. Is Pernicious Deed more important than Duress? I think it's Duress. Okay, Gaia's Blessing myself. I can't imagine this is worth that precious counterspell. It is not, and I got my own precious counterspell. Fairy Conclave enters tap. 1 unknown card in their hand. Let's party. There's the counterspell we knew about. Here's my counterspell. What is happening? All right, come on, deck. Or come on, Magic Online. Blue, blue. Okay. I got confused. Tapping 2 City of Brasses to do something. And Factor Fiction is off. Latinam's Legacy, getting rid of one of these Innocent Bloods is going to be the best moment of my life. 2 deeds, 3 other cards. The deeds kill my bears, too. I'm going to take the other cards. But if they have to activate the factories to block, then Innocent Blood gets crazy. All right, attack with my creatures. Plow. 2 bears left. Factory is up. Block. They can buff this. Is this where I put my smother? I think so. They didn't commit enough to this line to make it an Innocent Blood. Because if I let this resolve, then Blood, they lose their thing, but I'm down a bear. And I think I want a Legacy now. So I draw the cards on their turn. I'll shuffle away Grand Coliseum. I actually have some hope for these Innocent Bloods now. Counterspell Wall of Blossoms. Humility. I don't think I want to play against that. My win cons left in the deck are the 2nd Grizzly Fate and the Spiritmonger. I do have to keep in mind what's where. And the Wall of Blossoms is a secondary sacrifice option for Innocent Blood. I don't have to lose a bear. Ooh. A Underground River. Blessing. Target me. Target the other Blessing. Factor Fiction. And a Pernicious Deed. Drew another Wall of Blossoms. I would like to cast that while there's not a Humility in play. They might only have 1 in the list. I don't know. But if it's possible I won't cantrip, I would like to cantrip. Factor Fiction. Let's keep cramming these bears in. Opponent has great taste in basic lands. These Mirage basics are beautiful. All right, this one can't pump itself. That's the one that just came into play. The other one can pump it, though. And I'm going to accept this combat beating and then use Innocent Blood, sack a Wall of Blossoms to take a factory down with me. A 2nd main, Innocent Blood, been in my hand since my opening keep, finally gets a creature. Yeah, they can Dust Bowl in response. I'll use that to Factor Fiction. There's the other Grizzly Fate. The Duresses or the Fates. I want the Fate. Innocent Blood kills my Wall of Blossoms, takes nothing with it, but a factory is gone. And I think I hold off on this 2nd Fate until I know it's going to be good. If their last card in hand is a counterspell right now, that's bad. Or if it's Wrath of God, it's even worse. They're firing up the 2/1. Can't block that. Landmore Wastes. My opponent does not know about that. A pre-combat so I don't get cooked by the Dust Bowl trick again. I'll make 4 bears. Attack with this bear. Maybe it's better to wait a turn and just do the lethal attack all at once, but this Wall of Blossom turning on the Innocent Blood, just hard to resist. Innocent Blood. I get Dust Bowled. They can't take me off counterspell. Right, going after the tapped Reflecting Pool. Glad I went pre-combat on that one. Okay, all their 3 toughness blockers are gone. I have the other half of Grisly Fate still in my graveyard. The card Decree of Justice could be annoying here. I don't know how many of them they play, and I discarded one earlier. All right, if they're firing up Conclave, they don't have Justice. And, okay, Swords of Plowshares, that's fine. They can't do the Dust Bowl trick because I need to trade off here. And I think to play around Wrath of God, I should not flashback Grisly Fate. Because I have Lethal on board already. I have Counterspell backing it up. Guy's Blessing. All right, are we in? That is exactly the card I wanted them to not have. But it's a lot better this turn than it would have been last. They get 6 homies and draw a card. They have to trade off 4 of the homies for my 2 bears. Unless they want to go into chump mode. I don't think so. Yeah, getting the bears off the table, pretty important. Okay, the bears are done. Grisly Fate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the bin. Llanowar Wastes. Guy's Blessing, target me, target, Counterspell, Factor Fiction, and the other Guy's Blessing. Found an Innocent Blood. Probably won't be casting that this game. And now we're in a tight spot. If they have Wrath of God plus Counterspell right now, that actually puts me in the position where I have to win with the 1 of Spiritmonger. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, Spiritmonger, let's play. Gotta find you, big fella. Pernicious Deed in resolving one of those is a big deal. And they're at 3, which is awesome because they cast Absorb this game. So that actually did matter. I have the double Blessing loop, so I'm not going to deck. 2 Decrees have been used already. I don't know how many win cons they actually play. There's 3 Dead Mistress Factory and, okay, Factor Fiction Upkeep, sure. All right, you get Mistress Factory or everything else. What did they take? They took everything else. Okay, so there's an Impulse in hand and a bunch of lands. Guess what? I play that card too. Impulse for Counterspell. Oh no, there's the Spiritmonger. I can still win the game. It's possible. Are you going to give me Spiritmonger everything else? I have Guy's Blessing in my deck still. I'm going to take 4 cards here. And get Factor Fiction again. Impulse in response on that one. All right, hit the Counterspell. Not bad. All right, Wall of Blossoms, get in there. Another Factor Fiction. Sure. This is worth 4 life, or 3 life. Wild shit. Here, let's go. Okay, the Guy's Blessing is going to be in the bottom 5 cards of my deck. Deed and everything else. I will take the Deed this time around. They seem to know what they're talking about. All right, here we go. And they conceded to that. Wow. Awesome. I'm having a good time. Okay, Naturalize kills Mistress Factory. It does not kill Standstill, not the way you want. I certainly won't board out Sabo's Web this time. Haunting Echoes could be the hammer in this matchup. I will not be bringing in Oath because their deck doesn't have any actual creatures. And they have Humility, so that's another naturalized target. Annul hits Standstill and Humility, at least. Pernicious Deed's good. Innocent Blood, you're out of here. And Wall of Blossoms is pretty mid. I like all my blue cards. Duress is phenomenal. Sabo's Web's phenomenal. I need to win the game somehow. I could entertain arguments that Ravenous Balos should be in just as something that attacks. Is that better than what? What would it be better than? Spiritmonger's also a beast in case I need 4 life. I could cut another wall, but the wall does slow down Mistress Factory, and I can get it down early enough that that might actually save a ton of damage. But if my opponent's attacking really aggressively with Mistress Factory that early in the game, then they're not holding up counterspells. Okay, I don't need win cons. Win cons are for the weak. I'm bringing in these cards, and I still have 2 Grisly Fates and a Spiritmonger to win the game with. All right, I'll keep. I have my first 2 land drops, and then access to something that cantrips. Do they have the Standstill? Doesn't look like it. It's good news for me. Okay, I'm passing the turn. I'm gonna Legacy in their end step, I think. Shuffle away Haunting Echoes. That's a much later problem. All right, Latinum's Legacy, end step. Shuffle away Echoes. I draw 3 cards. Ancestral Recall and Premodern. Redrew the Echoes. You'll love to see it, both of them. All right, well, there's that now. Opponent missed a land drop? but I might too. Moment of truth. Who's ahead? Shit. All right, well, them missing a land drop was good. Me missing one also is bad. Discard one of the echoes. All right, now they're going to discard as well. Yeah, whoever hits a pocket of lands first is going to win this game. Swords of Plowshares in the bin. Another Wall of Blossoms. I hate you so much. I'll discard Wall this time. If they try to do something in the end step, I could mana leak it, and then I don't have to discard. They hit a land, which also represents Fact or Fiction. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, please try to do something here. Looks like Fact or Fiction. Would they cycle Decree for 1? I don't think so. Okay, well, what do I know? I guess I'm happy enough to smother that. And by happy, I mean I was going to lose a card anyway. Yep, they're hitting lands. Can I have one deck? Especially if it's green. Oh my god. Passing the turn. Oh, good. They gave me something to do. A morph. Well, I've just spent my smother, and I boarded out my Innocent Bloods. This could be bad. Fudge and A. I'm gonna die to an Exalted Angel here. I'll discard one of these Naturalizes, I guess. Take into Impulse Resolves. I'm 15 cards into my deck with 25 lands, and I drew 2 extra cards one turn. I'll discard Wall of Blossoms. And this has nothing to do with Premodern. This is just classic mana screw, Magic the Gathering mana screw. This could happen in any format. Oh, they have a Dust Bowl now? Great. Hey. They're going to Dust Bowl me in the end step. I'm going to Fact or Fiction in the end step. I'm going to have to discard a trillion cards, but hopefully there will be some land drops. AK Grizzly Fate, annul some lands. I'll take the lands, whatever pile they're in. Sold. Take pile 2. And I have to discard 1 card. It's going to be the other Haunting Echoes. That's so far away from being useful. And if I somehow grind back into this game, which I'm not going to, if it somehow happens, all right, you got me. Okay. Oh, I have to account for Exalted Angel, which someone who played more Premodern than me would have known already. Shave a Deed. I still think Naturalize is good. No way the Oath Pivot's actually good here. I don't believe it. You can't talk me into it. All right, I'm going to go a second Wall of Blossoms out for Innocent Bloods in. 1 Deed, 1 Wall. And Deed can kill Angel too, but way later than I want it to. Okay, let's go. Sometimes in a game you look at 20 cards and see 3 lands. I'll keep this one. Opponent's also got 7 cards. All right, I was just going to say I'm going to represent Counterspell here, but then I actually have Counterspell. That'll keep Standstill off my back. I'm going to end step Latinum's Legacy and get rid of the Grizzly Fate. If they counter this, I'll use that window to resolve Pernicious Deed. All right, I think that's really aggressive, but okay. After me getting mana screwed last game, I can see the appeal. Deed's in play. I am missing land drops, of course. I'm going to try to shuffle both of these cards back into my deck. Hit the land drop. Easy game. It might have even been the Polluted Delta I just shuffled into my deck. We don't know. Factory. I'm sitting on 2 answers to that. Wall of Blossoms. Wall of Blossoms on the stack. It's another look at a land, and it's put something in front of that factory. Land drops are coming now. Disenchant the Deed. Okay, it's gone. They have enough scary spells like Standstill that I don't want to counterspell something like that when I have 2 other answers to the thing Deed is answering. They are missing land drops. All right, they found one. Ooh, okay. Punch a hole for Fact or Fiction. That sounds good. I'm going to get a Swamp. Duress you. There's only 2 blue mana here. Okay, the hand is just all juice. I'm going to take one of the counter spells, I guess. Yeah, letting that resolve is tight because the card that I care about, they had 2 of. Drawing an island here sucks. I think they should try a Standstill here. They can protect it with counterspell. Like, what are you worried about? I'm going to try to Fact or Fiction over top, and that should flush out the counterspell at least. Or they could say, you know, this doesn't matter. All right. Yeah, the problem is they had just 2 of everything when I duress them. Accumulated Knowledge. I'm just going to pass here. And their hand isn't very good, and I have Mishra's Factory covered. And knowing that the second Standstill is there is the hard part. All right, land drop, let's go. Opponent's hitting land drops too. Let's not go. Haunting Echoes. That could be sweet. That could get the standstills out of their deck. So if I end step Accumulated Knowledge, break the standstill, untap Echoes, Accumulated Knowledge in the end step, I draw 1, you draw 3. Land is exciting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fetch. I do have Threshold. I could go for Grisly Fate here. Try to... But I know they have the Wrath of God. All right, I'm going to go big money. Haunting Echoes. Try to get the counterspells and standstills out of your deck. I know 3 of the cards in hand aren't counterspells right now. Impulse. Digging for interaction, but that also gets the impulses out of the deck if I end up winning the fight. Fetching. Fetching more. Another impulse. Okay, everything they do to dig for counterspells makes it more likely my counterspell in hand will actually win the fight. All 4 of their Flooded Strands are in the graveyard, so exiling that doesn't matter. Counter back, Moment of Truth. Did you have 2 counterspells? No, and Haunting Echoes has resolved in 2025. 2026. Oh, this searches the library. It doesn't get the hand. That's whack. All right, well, I misunderstood what this card does. Just I thought I was getting the standstill out of the hand, but I'm not. Okay, there are 4 Decree of Justices, no counterspells, 2 Factor Fictions, 2 Dust Bowls. I'm actually going to screenshot this because I'm going to forget and it's going to be important. Okay. All right, it's not Surgical Extraction for their hand, and everyone who heard me say that an hour ago when this league started, you were right. And it did come up and it did blow me out. I did build an entire plan around that being true, and it's not. Phyrexian Furnace, which gets Guy's Blessing because it's just the bottom card of my deck. Standstill. Yep, Guy's Blessing's gone. Now that loop is broken. I do have Threshold. You have Powder Keg and Wrath of God. Yikes. Here's my land, and I guess I'll start with Wall of Blossoms. See if this comes up with a Duress or anything useful. All I can do is bust the Standstill. It's not going anywhere. Hey, Duress. That's the thing I said. Duress you. Cycling Decree in response. They can make 3 fellas, but I can block 3 fellas. I can block 2 fellas. Right, Factor Fiction, Plow, Dismantling, Blow. Another Factor Fiction, Wrath of God, Powder Keg. I think I want Powder Keg gone. Powder Keg's out. Naturalize the Furnace while they can't even use it. This Fairy Conclave's a little annoying. Opponent can push 3 damage here. I'm also pretty far behind on my clock. But I do have access to Grisly Fate to get on the board. That'll at least make the soldiers not as good. Make the factories not as good. Factor Fiction in response, that's fine. I'm going to put Swords to Plowshares and everything else. Which seems silly, but I've seen their deck, and like I know they're not hitting more counterspells. They took the everything else. There's Wrath of God. I'll put a counterspell on that. Actually winning a damage race, maybe? What do you think about that? Factor Fiction in response. Decree of Justice versus everything else. And they took the Decree. No surprise there. It's weird that when you can play in a certain way because you know the full limitations and offerings of your opponent's deck. Oh, Pernicious Deed, that's bad for my opponent. I'm gonna AK for 2. There's an AK for 3. Fetch. Island. AK for 3. I should have tapped Llanowar Waste to do that. That was bad. Now I have to take a damage that I wouldn't have to take otherwise. Right, attacking for 3. They have Dismantling Blow, which can blow up a Pernicious Deed. I have to pick a spot for that. That's going to be good. Right, other Grisly Fate. I see my clock ticking. I'm playing in a way that might not actually make any sense, but I am trying to win the game. Opponent has 8 cards in their deck. Tormod's Crypt, that's pretty good. That takes out my 2 Grisly Fates. I think decking them is actually my plan here. I have answers to 3 of their creature lands in my hand. My Sabo's Web is still in the mix. If they tap out for a Angel side Decree, Deed can cook that. Yeah, 4 Angels. Right, Underground River. Attack with everybody, because I'm wrathing the board anyway. And it's up to Spiritmonger once again to win the game. Except for that's not even true because decking them is my plan to win the game. I blow it up for 0. play the extra one. That'll cover creature lands. But that gets dismantling blown. Shit, there's so much to keep track of here. I think I actually just lose right now. Oh, they didn't dismantling blow. That's huge. That's huge. I get to kill the flying creature. Oh my god. Huge, huge, huge. End step factor fiction. Their deck is out of counterspells. Come on. Give me this shit. Platinum's Legacy. I think I'm going to take that, even if it's in a pile by itself. Okay. They gave me Legacy and a card to shuffle away with it. 7 cards in their deck. 2 of them are Decree of Justice, though, which is a little scary. I think I'm going to Legacy right now. Shuffle away Naturalize. Though that is an answer to Factory. Uh-oh, here it comes. Yeah, they got me. What would I have to do here? I don't even think it's possible. Smother one of them, might as well. This is... If they fire up all the factories, they win. Oh, and the 4th factory. Yeah, the inevitability of getting to see your whole deck in a game is awesome. All right. They activated the one that has Summoning Sickness. So I block factory, naturalize factory, die to the 7 tokens. Awesome. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to smother that flyer last turn instead of use Deed on it. I'm not playing my best because I'm panicking about the clock. Like 2 minutes on my clock here is not really enough to play a game like this at full capacity. That was sick. Okay. Not the most successful outing, but this did showcase something about the pre-modern format, which is that the mana is not free. And we're so used to in Magic in the modern day, just having access to fetch land, dual land mana bases. Like Modern has them, Standard even frequently has them these days. Even when you don't have fetch land, dual land accessible to you, mana's just really good. Like the check lands, if you have an island, this is untapped, or the Spire Bluff Canals, these come in untapped on the first 3 turns. The slow lands, these come into play untapped on turn 3 and beyond. There's just so many options, even in Pioneer. Standard probably has better mana than this format. And that leads you to significant deck building decisions of, do you need Grisly Fate as the win con in your control deck? And this Oath pivot, is it worth what we had to do to get green into here? Versus that Psychotog deck, just the Dimir control deck that had better mana than me and a cleaner plan than me. But that deck can't board into Oath into Phantom Nishoba versus red decks. I will say, after playing this deck for 5 rounds and running into massive output of pain when my lands are online because City of Brass and Llanowar Waste and stuff, they hurt you, and running into my reflecting pool is not on, so I can't even cast spells at all, whether they hurt me or not, I would probably not pick this deck if I had a pre-modern Pro Tour to win. If there's ever a pre-modern Grand Prix, I would not be playing a deck that is this tough on its own mana when like Mono Blue Dreadnought and the Blue-White Standstill and the Blue-Black Tog and all of those decks exist. The Green-White or Green-Red dedicated Oath Terravore decks. There's a bunch of 1 and 2 color decks you can play that are probably more powerful than this, and the thing happens more reliably. But also, one of the cool things about a community-led format like this is you're allowed to play in the mud. Like, you're allowed to be in tier 2, tier 3, and you'll still get some cool wins and get to play with cool cards. And on top of all that, we have a bunch of MTGO results from the time that Premodern's been available. And guess what? It's not just Dreadnought sweeping all of the challenges. It's a cool spread of decks, different decks. The format is not solved. There's not one obvious best deck. And that's just a cool place to put some energy if you want to be playing Premodern. Samael, thank you for sharing this with me. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.